Mbogo, Managing Director of Millennium Engineers. Diana, welcome to the stage. Feel free to choose whichever seat fits you best. Then we have Rugola Mtandu, from CEO at ENdep Limited. Welcome. We have engineer Masanyiwa Mallale from Interfini. Engineer Ali Makame Haji from the Zanzibar Ministry of Energy. Welcome to the stage as well. And then we have, last but not least, Dr. Zakaria Kamis, Director of the Zanzibar Fisheries and Marine Resources Research Institute at the Ministry of Blue Economy and Fisheries of Zanzibar. So welcome dear panelists to this and dear audience to this session. What we're going to deep dive into is the potential and use case for renewable energy for the blue economy, including fisheries, including tourism, coastal regions of Tanzania and beyond. What we're going to do, the session is structured as a series of introductions first. There'll be a few slides from the companies present. Then we're going to go directly into a discussion. So we'll mix in audience questions within that discussion, so feel free to prepare those as you come along. We're going to not wait until the end. So without much further ado, we can go already to the first speaker. So Diana, it will be ladies first this time. I'm going to give you the clicker, and maybe you can come up here as well when you present if you want, or I can give you the mic. I'll give you the mic, that's fine enough.
Presentation. All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Diana Mbogo. I am the founder and managing director of a female-owned and led renewable energy company in Tanzania that focuses on developing customized business projects across different industries, value chains, and the community by serving them with cost-effective solutions that are still cater for their culture, financial viability, as well as the environment. We were founded in 2016, and we are currently implementing a project cutting across the sardine fishing industry in Lake Victoria. I hope you all know, by this knowledge you will know that Tanzania holds 30% of the freshwater lakes in the world. And given that we are, with the addition of the coastal line, we are at a very high advantage in terms of the blue economy. How we incorporate the renewable energy into the blue economy is through productive uses of renewable energy in economic activities. We look into the value chains of different industries. That includes the blue economy as well. And right now we're focusing on the sardine fishing industry. Okay, so those are the slides anyway, but we can still go on. We're currently implementing, as I said, we are currently implementing an impact business project across the sardine fishing industry that caters for two areas of its value chain. One is the kerosene lanterns and lead acid batteries that are actually used for night fishing of sardines. And the second area that we're looking into is the drying, which is the processing of fish. So we use solar drying facilities for that activity. One of the advantages of incorporating renewable energy into solutions, economic activities or solutions into these communities, fishing communities, is that it increases the value of the byproducts. At the same time, we save out around 70% of 70% of post-harvest, we save 70% of post-harvest losses that currently happen on the sardine drying or processing due to culprits such as rainfall and contamination due to when they are drying it on open land spaces or elevated racks. But at the same time, Lake Victoria alone, it produces more CO2 than the entire country of Burundi. And this happens because of kerosene lanterns that are used for night fishing. Using solar lanterns means we are offsetting around, for just us with 1,000 lamps, we are offsetting around 15,000 tons of CO2 in 2 years. Can you imagine if we powered that sector with solar? It is a huge sector and with vast business opportunities as well, that I do believe the government and private sector can work together to bring decentralized solutions into these communities that serves and caters for all. Thank you.
Thank you. We will go to the next speaker, Rugola. So over to you for your introductory remarks.
Thank you, Jan. My name is Rugola Mtandu. I am the CEO of ENdep Limited. This is a clean energy project development company based in Tanzania. We are also into the renewable energy and blue economy. The company is made up of a group of environmental entrepreneurs, engineers, and business development specialists. We do focus on projects that has a positive environment and social and economic impact. We understand that blue economy now it's topical. In fact, when you rank it in terms of national economies, it ranks number 7, and it is estimated around it's 2.5 trillion US dollars. And this forms a huge opportunities for private sector like us. So some few facts on the blue economy. We know that most of potential areas, blue economy with abundance of resources, they are far away from the grid, like islands, some coastal lines. But however, blue economy and renewable resources, they do exist. For instance, we know that there are some technologies of offshore wind turbines, floating solar panels. We also know there is some experimental technologies such as OTEC. This is ocean thermal energy conversion, and we have wind with power, with tidal power, current power, and so forth. But so this forms an opportunity with these technologies to link the two, the blue economy and the renewable energy. The other fact is that most of the blue economy resources, such as fish and Diane has mentioned, they are perishable. For instance, we are dealing with Nile perch and tilapia, which cannot last more than 6 hours if properly not stored. So that's why we are currently implementing a project of using solar cold rooms for fish storage. The project is along the shores of Lake Victoria in Mwanza, which is going to offer cooling as a service to fish traders. The fish traders will come and store their catch for a number of days before shipping them to lucrative markets that are always far away from the source. We expect to bring about the impact of the carbon emission avoidance because the current situation, we know that there's spoiled fish and there's the fish traders, they resort to frying fish, which using firewood, which again pollutes the environment. And by cold storing the fish, we are extending fish shelf life from 6 hours up to 3 months. And since our project is focusing on women and youth, we are also impacting in terms of economic livelihood. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rugola. Our next speaker is engineer Mallale from Interfini, so engineering company working on coastal projects as well, island projects. So over to you for a few introductory remarks.
Thank you. I am Masanyiwa Mallale, a resident engineer of Interfini, Tanzania Limited. Yeah, our company was formed in 2006, basically as a consultant company, where we offer services in financial consultants, project management, feasibility studies. And we moved on to become actually to provide trainings in capacity building. Interfini so far has been in consortium with CRDB, we are the trust agent for the rare projects in the country. So we have managed to supervise and monitor over 300 projects in the Tanzania mainland. We have also a practical experience in the rural Tanzania environment through our job as the trust agent. Now, when we talk about blue economy, which has become now a major topic in the development, we found that through the project that we have supervised, we realized that grid extension is not very much viable in remote areas, in islands, where we have people who work and also need the development equitable to other places in the Republic. So also access to these areas is rather difficult. So you can see in this slide, we have a practical example in Krut Island, which is in Mkranga district, where actually Resco Tanzania Limited, in collaboration with FireSun, they've installed a very practical solar system in that island, with all the advantages my colleagues have just mentioned in refrigeration of products, access to lights, and also improvement of the life standards of the people in the island. Access is through those boats. We can see me and my team were visiting that island in 2019. Also, renewable energy interconnectivity needs special or training in the engineers. So in collaboration with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory of the US, which was sponsored by USAID in Tanzania, we were contracted to organize the training here in Dar es Salaam, in Morogoro, last October. Due to the pandemic, it was impossible for the NRL specialists to come here. So we organized this training where we invited TANESCO engineers, ZECO engineers, ZURA, who is the regulatory authority in the island, EURA, also ministry officials to attend, because interconnecting renewable energy to the existing grid needs special attention, also needs special mechanism. So our other point of strength is that we can at least facilitate training in these areas. Okay, I go and mention again Resco in partnership with FireSun. They managed to conduct what we call self-chilling training in Dar es Salaam, Don Bosco. That was last month. Here we can see also the values of food preservation. The coastal area of Tanzania is about 1,427 kilometers, where actually access of grid energy is difficult. So with this technology, these people can preserve, can get light, and can enjoy the life standards as any other people in the Republic do. That is Interfini. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Engineer Mallale. Also really interesting example at the end with the face-on self-chill projects. For people in the audience that are more interested in that, I'm sure you've noticed that there is a face-on stand in the exhibition as well. You can talk directly with the face-on colleague Manuel. We are extremely blessed also to have Engineer Haji here with us from the Zanzibar Ministry of Energy. Engineer Haji, do you perhaps want to say a few words about the work of the ministry as well on renewable energy and blue economy? Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Engineer Ali Makame Haji from the Ministry of Water, Energy and Minerals. Actually, the themes of renewable energy as a catalyst of the blue economics in Tanzania, specifically in Zanzibar, play important roles for the development of the Zanzibar nation, because we know that through our President Honorable Hussein Al-Mwinyi had the aim of bringing the blue economy as the main source of bring development for the Zanzibaris. So, as the Ministry of Energy, as the Ministry of Water, Energy and Minerals, we are looking the best energy that can to have the enough powers to moderate against the development. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haji. We also are blessed to have a second ministry from Zanzibar with us here on the panel, represented by Dr. Zakaria Khamis, so the Ministry of Blue Economy and Fisheries of Zanzibar. So could you also perhaps elaborate a little bit on how you see renewables play a role in Zanzibar? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zakaria Ali Khamis. I am the Director of Zanzibar Fisheries and Marine Resources Research Institute, which is under the Ministry of Blue Economy and Fisheries, Zanzibar. To start with, I would like to actually explain a bit of the ministry itself. Ministry of Blue Economy and Fisheries, Zanzibar is a pretty new ministry that has been established in this current regime under the President Al-Mwinyi. And the idea is that is to actually open up those opportunities that Zanzibar have within the marine area, so as to open to encourage and promote the economic growth of Zanzibar, but also, of course, having innate gender equity, inequality within, but also tackling up the problem of climate change and other stressors that are coming from the natural forces. The ministry itself has about 9 departments in it, but in a function-wise, actually, it has the direct function to 2 main issues. The first is fisheries and aquaculture, which has been in Zanzibar for a bit long time anyway. So what I'd like to say is like the sector that are formed in the ministry, at some point they are not new sectors, but we come up with a ministry to formalize and chart out the way on how we can open up more opportunities and use these sectors to actually improve the economy of people in Zanzibar. So one of the area at which the ministry is working directly to is the fisheries and aquaculture. And within the fisheries and aquaculture, 2 or 3 main departments are working in there. The first is we have the Department of Fisheries Development and Aquaculture. We also have the Department of Marine Conservation, as we know actually, that the fisheries sector and the blue economy by itself actually cannot be sustainable without conserving the environment in the marine area. So we are also emphasizing it's a core issue when it comes to blue economy of Zanzibar, the conservation of marine environment. And also we do have the research institute, which I am heading to, but also we have the fisheries company that is working in that particular direction. Apart from that first group of where the ministry is working on directly, we also work directly with the energy sector. Here we speak about gas and oil and gas issue. So they are also within the ministry, the regulatory authority as well as the company, which is directly concerning with the exploration, perhaps then also a regulation of the oil and gas issues in Zanzibar. And apart from that, we also work indirectly to other economic sector. As we know, of course, the economy is composed of multiple sectors, which include tourism as well, which is one of the fundamental sectors in Zanzibar. So via one of the departments within the ministry, so-called Department of Coordination for Blue Economy Development in Zanzibar, we kind of coordinate all other sectors that are falling within the blue economy, which also include, again, the energy, as my colleague here also talked about it. So that is a bit of the ministry. So far in the ministry, we have developed the blue economy policy, at which we have 5 pillars in hand. And of those pillars, we have fisheries and aquaculture, it's one pillar. We also have the tourism, which in fact we're encouraging ecotourism rather than any other kind of tourism, because we know we need to have sustainable kind of tourism, high-end tourism at which we can conserve our environment, not only for marine, but also for terrestrial environment as well. We also have the maritime trade and infrastructure, which is emphasized in the policy as well. We also emphasize on the maritime governance as well, because we know if you have that's kind of big sectors in the marine area. Of course, we need to improve the governance of the maritime as well. To actually put things in action, because I know we're running out of time, I would like to say that so far the ministry has been emphasizing much on the fisheries sector and aquaculture. That is one of the very big angle at which the ministry is emphasizing. And so far, very recently, the government has, secure funds, from those COVID-19 recovery package, at which we have constructed and give it in a loan, loan form to the fishers, actually, about 577 fishing boats, which are supposed to actually be good boat with the engine and all those important gears and equipments. That our intent is to actually equip those fishers to go a bit out of the to fish, because so far now about we have about 8,000 fishing vessels in Zanzibar, which are about 61% of those are just wind powered or pedals. So not much of them are engine powered. So we are kind of trying to empower them so they can go far in fishing, and we can preserve and conserve the inner part of the water in the marine area. But also we are emphasizing aquaculture, especially the seaweed farming. So we are actually giving out about 500 boats to the seaweed farmers, who are actually 8% of them are women in the rural areas, so they can be able to do farming in the deeper water, because we know now, based on climate change issues, we are facing the problem with the seaweed growing within the shallow water area. So that is one of the big area that we kind of do the intervention, so we make sure that the two sectors, or this aquaculture and fisheries, is a bit opened and then taking up the opportunities. Connecting this with renewable energy, again, I confess that we are struggling much, because, for instance, if we talk about those boat that we are giving to the fishers to go fishing, actually, it will be very good if we can have the green energy powered boat. For instance, if we can have solar powered engines or electrified engine, that'd be fantastic. Then using the Yamaha engine that is powered by gas, for example. So there is a big opportunity in that angle. But also, speaking about the sector of fisheries in Zanzibar, we have a very big industry of anchovy. We do drying of anchovy, It's one of the big industries in Zanzibar. We kind of supply our anchovy to Congo and other places in Africa. So there is also a struggle in terms of anchovy drying issues. So we would actually encourage to have like solar dryers for anchovy. So far now they are using a traditional kind of a boiling and drying. So there's a big opportunity for renewable energies in that angle at one end, but also to add up with the aquaculture sector, especially for the seaweed farming, a female who actually, or the women who actually, the high proportion of seaweed farmers they are facing a problem of drying their seaweed. Seaweed it gets spoiled when it gets fresh water, and especially it's a challenge during the rain season. Actually, they cannot have a proper drying mechanism for their seaweed. So that's also an opportunity for using and employing renewable energy, solar dryers and so forth, so they can be able to dry their seaweed whatever the weather is, in conditions. So I see there is a very big opportunity for renewable energy to actually power up the blue economy sector in Zanzibar, but also there are those other opportunities within the blue economy to actually support the renewable energy as well. So there's this two-way traffic in the arena. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khamis, for that elaborate response. So you touched upon also the element of gender and community involvement in the project. So perhaps, Diana, you mentioned your projects in the sardine industry. Maybe you can elaborate a bit on lessons learned on community involvement and gender equality in those projects, and especially how that has benefited your business as well. Thank you.
Yeah. So for the sardine fishing industry, we observe that women take up one of the processing value chains, which is processing the fish. Early morning, they go out on the shore of the lake, they take up the sardines, and then go outside on the open land spaces to dry it. The value they get from, the monetary value they get from these activities is very minimum compared to the fishermen or traders. Now, what we are actually trying to do is formalize the sector, at the same time increase the value of their contribution into that value chain by empowering them, teaching them, and at the same time giving them technical skills and business skills to become operational and saleswomen in all our site areas where we have industrial drying facilities, which increases the shelf life, so that we're actually helping them increase the value of the sardine at the same time, while they are the ones capable of becoming very prominent salespeople for the fishermen who come in and the tradespeople who buy the fish. So that's it. And how we do this, we go into these communities and identify women that are actually entrepreneurial or are in that industry working in very low income level, doing the same process of drying, and then teach them how we do it. That is one of the areas that we see. And this has led into a very good balance in terms of gender equality into these communities, helping them earn more and at the same time being able to support their families and dependents as well.
Thank you so much. Perhaps a little bit similarly worded questions, Rugola. So you've also worked with some of the, let's say, international financing partners on projects, EP Africa, PFAN, and you have a very strong community involvement as well in your blue economy, renewable energy projects. Could you also perhaps similarly elaborate a bit on the benefits for your business, how it's been integrated in the business model? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so we are implementing the Cooling as a Service project in Mwanza, which focuses on the fish traders. So in Mwanza, with an estimated over 1,000 metric tons plus of fish harvest yearly, you find that the issue of cold storage of fish is important, because the fish traders would need to aggregate the fish, cold store it, and ship it to the lucrative markets, which are far away, 600 kilometers more. But the situation, the current situation, the way it is, which we are trying to resolve, is that most people, most fish traders, they face a challenge of gaining access to the existing cold rooms. Because most of these cold rooms are grid powered, and they do face some challenges related to grid stability, frequent breakdowns, and limited storage. So what we are offering, as I've said before, is a solar powered solution, which gives preference to the fish traders to come and store their fish at an affordable price. And we are focusing really on women and youth fish traders that currently most of them, they are facing some issues. They have some alternative ways. Instead of doing this cold storage of fish, which is lucrative to them, they are resorting to frying. And a fried fish, usually the price is half the premium price of fresh fish. So this is what we are offering to the community, and the community of Mwanza have accepted well our project, and it's still work in progress, and we hope to see more traction and see an impact to the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing those insights. So coming to Engineer Mallale, you've been involved in the sector for quite a lot of years, as you explained before. What have been some of the overarching developments you've seen over the years? What are some of the key takeaways from these type of projects that you might be able to share with the audience?
Oh, thank you very much indeed. In fact, we have been offering capacity building training in different fields. As I mentioned, the most current one has been the engagement of TANESCO engineers, ZESCO engineers, the regulators, in the new phases where renewable energy can be interconnected to the existing grid. As I think the permanent secretary of the Minister of Energy, Zanzibar, mentioned, there is that project in Zanzibar where they are installing 18 megawatts of solar energy, whereby they'll have also a 40 megawatt hours of battery energy storage system. Also, the construction of a 132 to 33 substation to evacuate this power to the Zanzibar grid. Now, you need special technology, you need special knowledge to incorporate renewable energy into the existing system. That one has been our area of interest, where we collaborate by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory of the US. That is one area. The other area where we also shared experience is the experience of supervising, monitoring, and evaluating the rural energy projects. And most of them have been in the extension of the national grid, but also on renewable energies. I mentioned about the Kruti Island, where also renewable energy, solar energy has been in operation since 2019. You can see the advantages on those villages. Preservation of food using refrigerators. Okay, that's an advantage. Also, these areas, these people also needed to have entertainment. What we witnessed was that they use video showrooms. After heavy work, they can watch football. These are the results of renewable energy in isolated or difficult to reach areas. And finally, if I want to support the other issues that I said, the coastal area of Tanzania is about 1,424 kilometers with a population of about 16 million people who actually use coastal values or sea products as their means of living. So this again is an open opportunity to capitalize in renewable energy technology to facilitate these people live and also carry out the economic activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Mallale. So over to you, Engineer Haji. Could you perhaps, after your introduction, explain a little bit more on the view of the ministry on using renewables to develop the blue economy?
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Actually, blue economy is all about sustainability of the ocean based on the economy. the government of Zanzibar have identified renewable energy as the one main pillars of the Zanzibar economy for right now. Similarly, the new energy policy of Zanzibar has called for accelerated employment toward the renewable energy for Zanzibar. The ministry, as the main implementation arm, is looking at the best way on how to apply the renewable energies and encourage private players toward Zanzibar. That's why there are different, we are tried our level best to come up with a different project that involves the renewable energy for Zanzibar. For instance, now we are implementing Zanzibar Energy Sector Transformation and Assets Project, which is a loan from the World Bank of 18 megawatt solar power plant with a battery storage system. We believe that after completion of this project, more than 300,000 people will be connected to this system, and to show that Zanzibar, for the case of renewable energy, we are taking a best part for development. As well as there are some small island around the Zanzibar. So to bring the submarine cable to this to supply the electricity to the people who are away from the Unguja and Pemba Island can be very expensive. So there is the Njau and Kokota projects, solar projects. For Kokota, the 8 kilowatt hour plant have been installed with the battery storage, as well as at Njau, there is a 50 kilowatt hour solar PV project have been installed, which is owned by the Zanzibar Electricity Corporation, have implemented this project. Due to this, we can see that the ministry have the wide overview toward the promoting the renewable energy utilization for Zanzibar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Haji. So, Dr. Kamis, you mentioned, you explained quite in depth the work before of the ministry. One follow-up question on what you mentioned. So, where, in your opinion, in which niches of the sector do the main opportunities lie, and where can renewables mainly act as a catalyst? So, for example, fishing, is it in aquaculture? Is it in food storage? Is it in tourism? Could you perhaps elaborate a little bit on where you see the main opportunity in terms of renewables as a catalyst of industrialization or productive use opportunities in Zanzibar?
Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, well, there is quite a big opportunity for renewable energy in all the sectors that are forming up the blue economy of Zanzibar. For instance, in the value chain of fisheries, there's a bigger issue or challenge that we are facing now of the post-harvest loss, which in fact the fishers, so as also for the fishmongers, they are challenged with that. Their fish is getting spoiled before they get to the end user. So that is an angle at which I see one of the opportunity at which renewable energy can intervene. For instance, I was thinking, come up with an idea of having the solar-powered cold storage facility, for instance, that could actually be able to sustain the fished, fisher, or the fished fish, for a quite longer time. And this is what we are starting as ministry now. We're kind of trying to come up with those facilities whereby now we want our fishers not to actually start running toward the market to sell their fish after caught the fish. An average time now for the fisher who goes to fish in Zanzibar is about 4 hours. But out of 4 hours, actually more, 80% or more of that hour is used for actually going to the fishing ground. And once the fish is caught, they start running toward the market so they can sell their fish. Our intent is they can have their storage facilities within the boats, but also over the market area where they can have a cold rooms, for example, that can be used to store their fish so that they can be able actually to sell them even after sometimes the fish is fished. So the point here is that there is a bigger chance of renewable energy as an opportunity actually to tackle these problems that we have in the fisheries sector as one. But again, you mentioned here, we have the tourism industry, which is of course big, and now it's booming up again in Zanzibar. All these hotels and other infrastructure, they need to be powered. So our intent is to go for the ecotourism, and that can only be possible if we have renewable energy within Zanzibar. And again, for instance, we have some example in Zanzibar of Chumbe Island, for example. They have ecotourism. They're practicing that. They don't use any kind of other source than solar power. They don't use any other source of water than the rain harvested water. So those kind of things that can come up in the sector, so they can be able to actually power those blue economy sector and achieve those intended goals that we have in terms of economy, but also inclusion of genders. Again, I said earlier here about the aquaculture issue. There is a bigger chance of renewable energy to come and intervene within the sector of aquaculture, because also, again, there's that big challenge of drying of the anchovy, drying of seaweed, and many other aquaculture products. That again, I'm hearing from my colleagues actually, they've been developing some system in the Lake Victoria, for instance, that could actually be replicated in Zanzibar. At some point, they can be used for Zanzibari fishers and aquaculture women, to be able to actually to dry their anchovy, to dry their seaweed, but also again, for the storage of their products, so they can be able to actually sustain for longer and have that longer shelf time, so they can be able actually to be sold in a good price, rather than actually bargaining with the buyer for a very low price, because you don't have any other option, of having your fish either spoiled or otherwise you sell it for the cheap price. So I think there is a very big room at which the renewable energy sector, companies, investors can come up in Zanzibar, invest in those kind of areas where they can, one, benefit from the blue economy sector, but also the sectors also can benefit from the renewable energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think we can go to a round of audience questions if there are any burning questions that you want to be answered. So yeah, if there are any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Yeah, the gentleman here at the front. Thank you. I see there's a microphone coming. Okay. Well, first in the back then.
Hi, my name is Tukam. A question I had, I think I really liked the conversation around just the renewable aspects, right, of Zanzibar and what's happening there. Question I had is around, what do you see as barriers, right? Because I think it's often one thing to say, look, it's quite attractive for to do these things. It's great for the environment, but from say people doing fishing, right? Like I think somebody talked about electrifying boats, and I'm just curious, from the different people, what are some of the barriers you see to that? Because I know companies that are trying to do things right in electrifying boats and stuff, but it doesn't often work out well. And I'm just curious from your perspective, and what do you see as barriers to that sort of adoption that I think if it happens is really good for Zanzibar?
Thank you. I take it's a question mainly for Diana and Rugola. Maybe Diana to start.
It's very true. We tend to adopt many technologies without taking into consideration the type of culture and community we are going to serve with, and the type of customers as well. That was one of our challenges and areas that we looked into very beginning on developing projects. that is a barrier. Financial institutions don't understand how to finance such projects, and so as development organizations. Secondly, it comes to policies. They do not understand how to regulate it, how to charge it, how to tax it. And then finally comes to the developer, who's just adapting technology without customizing. So what I usually advise on or consulting is taking in the technology, working with the financial institutions or development organizations, at the same time working with the government in piloting these projects, understanding the modalities, understanding how to actually tax them, how to understand the business models that actually work, and to customize the solution based on that culture, community, or client. And then after that, creating policies that align from your findings. Otherwise, it's always hypothesis. And at the end of the day, the developer is usually the person bearing the bigger risk, and we tend to disappear. So currently, when we're working on our project, we have 3 types of partners. One is the government of Tanzania through the Rural Energy Agency, REA. They are on board to understand what we're trying to do. Second is development organizations that have also put in funding to de-risk what we are going to do at the end of the day. And third, us trying to customize solution while working along the customer to provide something that is actually viable and has high market uptake. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to add on that, I think Diana have said it all, but one more barrier could be the power patch, the ability to purchase that kind of service, because you find the people that we are dealing with, they are coming from that low socioeconomic status. But again, when you look at it, the business is it makes sense, but when you run the numbers, sometimes you find it's a challenge. So, but when you look at it, it's a business of volume. So if you have more customers, and if they are able to pay, and if you are able to calibrate your pricing, that is possible. So what we are trying to find out how to go around this challenge of barrier to deployment of these technologies, apart from what Diana mentioned, is to enable, to empower these customers, your clients. You can, what we are trying to do is to link them with the microfinance institutions so that they can obtain some soft loans, which will enable them to pay for that service. And again, this can make the business sustainable in a way. But the other thing is to raise awareness. You know, sometimes it's difficult to change because this is it's like we're introducing a new technology to that society. So sometimes you might find that the uptake is not that good. So you need, as a private sector, as an entrepreneur, to invest more into raising awareness through trainings and marketing, and going down to the society, to the communities, and make that relationship, even personal relationship, trying to find out the champions within that society, and make them understand your project, and so that they can spread the word to the rest. So this is what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those elaborations, and also for the great question. So there was a question here at the front as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you don't mind also stating your name and affiliation. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Haji Symphorien Parikuti. I am a CEO of a company called Longvolt Energy. We're based in China, in Shanghai, and in Tanzania also we are here. So thank you for organizing all the event, and a special engineer from Zanzibar and one from Lake Zone and all these things. So it's not a question. I just want to announce to you that all what you say about the productive use of renewable energy. We have a solution for that. Example, we have a solar insectidal lamp series in which usually we use for the environment protection, in which can kill all the insects that can harm the production of the farmer in the big quantity. So I don't take time to talk, but we will talk and I will explain to you how we can cooperate to make all what you say to be practical and pragmatic in Zanzibar and in Tanzania, Bara, let's say. Thank you much.
Thank you so much for that comment. Are there any other questions from the audience? All right, then I have a question. It was something you mentioned before, Rugola. You mentioned microfinance for, let's say, end user financing or end user subsidies. What has been your experience with that in Tanzania so far? Could you perhaps elaborate a little bit on the status of this? Is it something that exists broadly, or is it? Do you have a specific example, etc.?
Thank you, Jens. So in Tanzania, in most of rural areas, you find the entrepreneurs, particularly women, they've organized themselves into what is known as Vikoba. Vikoba is Village Cooperative Banks. And this enables them to do their small businesses. They give loan to each other without, I think the collateral is within themselves. So they are following up the model of Grameen Bank, which started in Bangladesh by the famous Professor Yunus. So this is sometimes some, aspiring to be entrepreneurs from the villages. They are not aware, or they are not included in this kind of arrangement. So for us, what we are doing is to make them aware that this is available. It's an opportunity for them to get loans from these village banks and do business in that regard. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, for the answer. I also have another question, just generally for the panel. So you spoke a lot about the work you've done. You spoke about the opportunities. Maybe you could also elaborate a little bit, each of you, of what type of partners you're looking for to scale either your business or to increase opportunities on the island. Or so, what are the main types of partners you're looking for here at the event? And how can someone collaborate with you? So we can perhaps have a little round starting with Engineer Mallale on that.
Thank you very much indeed. As I mentioned, Interfini is collaboration with CRB. We are the trust agent for rare funded projects. So our main aim is, or job is, to supervise, monitor, and evaluate these projects. So we are actually more basically a government-oriented institution. But still, I can use this opportunity as a member of TAREA to mention something which is also of importance, that TAREA, through the government, there are some 47 sites which are suitable for private investors in renewable energy. Once you are there, it means we have an opportunity to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you for alluding that to us. We'll make sure that we follow up on that. Thank you so much. Yeah, so for us, I can say we are like pioneers in this space of renewable energy and blue economy. So we are at that infant stage. So as it's obvious, we need capital to enable us to achieve what we've set out to achieve. And one of the kind of capital, one of the finance that would really like to have is kind of a patient capital in forms of grants and even debt and equity. But this should be soft and should be really blended finance because, as I've said, this is new and we need to have support, capital support, even also technical assistance from other entities that have experience in this sector, renewable energy within the blue economy. Thank you.
For Millennium Engineers, as a social enterprise and a project developer, we are looking to have partners like the government and together with development organization in working together to achieve the same goals. One of is to develop customized projects across different sectors, meaning the blue economy at large now. And us as a project developer and technical developer as well, with the assistance of all those partners, we look forward into developing systems, business models, and solutions that will increase value for the community members, add value in terms of our regional output and productivity, as well as our value of the blue economy in the global market as well. So, karibu sana. I'll be available through, and our contacts are also available through RA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was a bit shocked with this question anyway, but because as a ministry, we are open to any partner anyway. So my answer could be very simple, like all partners, we are ready to work with them. However, I want to emphasize that as a ministry, of course, we are here, or we are for the community, and we are serving the poor community anyway. So we would like to see that we get a good partnership with those funders, potential funders or sponsors that they can support and sponsor those kind of projects that can actually empower our community. So we are here to look for, our doors and windows are open to any potential sponsor, development partners as well, but also the companies want to do business actually. So we are ready for that because we have opened up all those opportunities. To be honest, in Zanzibar now, we have been refining our taxation actually so that we can attract more investors in Zanzibar. So there is a very good a test and environment to come and invest in Zanzibar as well. Yeah, so we are looking for both, industries, renewable energy industries, because we have that challenges we want to solve, and there's a very good market in there in Zanzibar as far as now blue economy is concerned. But we also look for those potential sponsors and donors who actually can support, helping our community in Zanzibar to empower them, be able to do their good fisheries and benefit from fisheries, to do their good aquaculture so they can benefit from aquaculture, and many other sectors connecting within the blue economy sector. So our doors and windows are open anytime, just knock it and you come in, we are working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Actually, to me, we are ready to cooperate with whoever interested to come to Zanzibar to invest. Can be all stakeholders, private sectors, NGOs, development partners, as well as all persons for mutual beneficial for Zanzibar solution. Because as Zanzibar three energy sectors, right now we have a limited power generation source. So for case of electricity, we are dependent power from the mainland. So now we want Zanzibar to generate own power. That is our main aim as a ministry. So we are welcome whoever interested to come in Zanzibar. You are warmly welcome, because there is a Swahili says, Zanzibar ni njema atakaye aje. What the meaning of this? Zanzibar is very beautiful island. Whoever want, you are warmly welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's a very nice way to perhaps end the session. If there are no last burning questions, then we will end it here. So an open invitation to work with the government entities here on the panel. We also have private sector experts. So if anyone is interested in collaborating to advance the blue economy with renewables, please do get in touch with our panelists. You have the experts right here. So on that note, thank you so much, dear panelists, for your time. Thank you, dear audience. We're going to go to the lunch break. It's organized in a similar fashion as the other days. And we're going to take about 1 hour and 15 minutes for the lunch. So we'll see you here in about an hour and 15 minutes. Thank you. Our last order of business, if we can just take a picture with the speakers, that would be fantastic. Thank you.